All right, let's dive into the IELTS exam.
Sounds good.
We'll be uncovering everything you need to know about this test.
Absolutely. We'll cover the format, the skills it assesses, and even some strategies.
Like a roadmap to IELTS success.
Definitely.
So, first things first, what exactly is the IELTS?
IELTS stands for International English Language Testing System.
Catchy, right?
It's a globally recognized test. It basically measures how well you can use English.
For all sorts of things.
Yeah, like if you want to study abroad or maybe work in a new country or even
migrate somewhere new.
Right. Think of it as your ticket to English-speaking opportunities around the world.
Now, I know there are two types of IELTS exams.
You got it. The academic and general training modules.
How do you know which one to choose?
Well, it really depends on what your goals are.
Okay, so let's say I'm dreaming of, I don't know, studying literature at a university in the UK.
Then the academic module would be the one for you.
Makes sense. It's geared towards higher education, right?
Exactly. It focuses on the kind of English skills you'd need in an academic setting.
Got it. What about if I'm more interested in, say, working as a chef in Australia?
In that case, the general training module would be a better fit.
Okay, because it's more about everyday English.
Yeah, the kind you need for work experience or migration.
So no matter your goals,
the IELTS has a path for you.
Awesome. Now let's break down the exam itself.
Yeah.
It's divided into 4 sections.
Listening, reading, writing, and speaking.
Starting with listening.
You'll be listening to 4 recorded sections.
And they get progressively harder.
Exactly. The first 2 sections are about everyday social situations.
Like ordering coffee or something.
Exactly. Then the last 2 sections shift to more academic topics.
So like a university lecture.
Exactly.
So you kind of get a taste of everything.
You do. And you'll have a variety of question types to tackle.
Like what?
You might see multiple choice, matching, or even diagram labeling.
Diagram labeling, huh?
Yep. Based on what you hear.
Wow. So it's not just about understanding spoken English.
No, you need to be able to process information and apply it.
I bet people get really nervous about trying to understand every single word.
Oh, for sure. But here's the thing. You don't actually have to. The key is to focus on keywords and phrases.
So it's more about strategic listening.
Exactly. You're listening for specific information that will help you answer the questions.
Like a detective searching for clues.
Precisely.
That's a great way to think about it.
And don't forget, you get some time after the recordings to transfer your answers.
Okay, that's good to know. Gives you a chance to double check everything.
Yeah, always a good idea.
All right, moving on to reading.
Another crucial skill.
And you get a whole hour for this section.
That's right, 60 minutes to work through 3 reading passages.
And each passage has its own set of questions.
Correct.
So what kind of passages are we talking about?
Well, it depends on which module you're taking.
Okay, let's start with academic for all those aspiring scholars out there.
You'll be reading excerpts from things like books, journals, and magazines.
Covering a range of academic subjects.
Exactly.
Sounds like a real test of your reading comprehension.
It is, and your ability to analyze information and think critically.
And what about general training? Are the passages a bit more relaxed?
You might encounter things like advertisements, work-related documents, or even extracts from letters.
So stuff you'd see in everyday life.
Exactly. It's about assessing your ability to understand information in those contexts.
Okay, so regardless of the module,
you're going to have a lot of information to process in a limited amount of time.
I bet skimming and scanning are essential skills here.
Absolutely. You need to be able to quickly locate key information.
Like searching for a specific ingredient in a recipe.
You don't have time to read every single word.
Now, I've heard a really good tip for the reading section.
Oh, what's that?
Read the questions before you even look at the passage.
That's a great strategy. It helps you know what to look for as you read.
Makes it much easier to target the important information.
It does. It's like having a treasure map before you start digging.
I like that analogy. It's all about being strategic with your time and energy.
Exactly.
All right, ready to tackle the next section?
Hit me with it.
Writing.
This is where you get to show off your writing skills.
And this is another section where the tasks differ between the 2 modules.
Right. Let's start with the academic writing tasks.
Okay, so what's the first one?
In task 1, you'll be given some visual data, like a chart or a graph.
Sounds fun.
Your job is to analyze the data and summarize the key findings in a written report.
So you're basically translating visual information into words.
That's a good way to put it.
And this is important for anyone going into higher education, right?
Absolutely. You'll be doing a lot of this in university.
And what about task 2?
That's the essay.
The dreaded essay.
You'll be given a prompt.
And you have to argue a point.
Precisely. You need to develop a strong argument, support it with evidence, and present your ideas in a clear and logical way.
Okay, now for general training. What's the writing section like?
In task 1, you'll be writing a letter.
Ooh, like a formal letter.
It could be formal, like a complaint letter.
Or informal, like an invitation to a party.
Exactly. The key is to adapt your writing style to the specific situation.
So it's about applying your writing skills to real-life scenarios.
Precisely.
And task 2 is still an essay, right?
That's right, but the topics tend to be broader and more general.
Okay, so no matter which module you're taking, you're going to need some solid writing skills.
You got it. And here's a tip that applies to both tasks. Planning is key.
So don't just start writing whatever comes to mind.
Well, you could, but it's much better to take a few minutes to outline your main points.
So you have a clear structure before you start writing.
Exactly. Think of it like building a house. You need a blueprint before you lay the first brick.
That's a great analogy. So plan your writing, and I imagine practice is also crucial.
Absolutely. Familiarize yourself with common essay prompts and spend time drafting responses.
The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Exactly.
And that brings us to the final section of the IELTS. Speaking,
The one that often makes people the most nervous.
I can imagine. It's one thing to write in English, but speaking can feel a lot more pressure.
I get it. But remember, it's just a conversation with a trained examiner.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
And it's designed to assess your ability to communicate effectively in different contexts.
So what actually happens during this speaking test?
It's divided into 3 parts.
And how long does it last?
About 11 to 14 minutes.
Okay, walk me through those 3 parts.
Sure. The first part is the introduction and interview.
So that's where they get to know you a little bit.
Exactly. They'll ask you some general questions about yourself, your interests, your background.
Just to break the ice.
Pretty much.
What about the second part?
That's the long turn.
Sounds intimidating.
You'll be given a topic card,
Okay.
and you have 1 to 2 minutes to prepare a short speech about that topic.
Like a mini presentation.
Exactly, without the slides.
Got it. And this is your chance to showcase your fluency, your vocabulary.
And your ability to organize your thoughts and speak for an extended period.
What happens in the last part?
That's the discussion.
Okay.
The examiner will ask you some follow-up questions related to your long-term topic.
So it's more of a back and forth conversation.
Exactly. You get to delve a bit deeper into the topic and share your opinions.
Sounds like a good opportunity to show off your critical thinking skills.
It is. And here's something important to remember about the speaking test.
What's that?
Don't get too hung up on making mistakes.
You mean grammar mistakes and stuff?
Exactly. Fluency and coherence are more important than absolute perfection.
So it's better to just keep talking and get your message across.
Exactly.
That's really good advice. Any other tips for the speaking section?
Practice, practice, practice.
Always right.
Find opportunities to speak English as much as possible.
Like with friends or family.
Exactly. Or even language exchange partners.
The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become.
Precisely.
All right, so we've covered the 4 sections of the IELTS exam.
We have.
But before we move on to some overall strategies for success,
Sounds good.
let's take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to our IELTS Deep Dive,
We're ready to equip you with some essential strategies for success.
so you can navigate this exam with confidence.
Think of these strategies as your compass and map guiding you to your desired destination.
Achieving that target IELTS score.
Exactly.
And one of the most important tools in your IELTS arsenal.
Is time management.
Absolutely. Each section has a strict time limit.
You need to be able to work quickly and efficiently.
It's like running a race.
You got to pace yourself.
Make sure you have enough energy to reach the finish line.
That's a great analogy.
So, any practical tips for managing time during the exam?
Well, one thing you can do is practice timing yourself during your study sessions.
So, like if I'm working on reading passages,
Set a timer and see how quickly you can get through them.
and try to improve your speed each time.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Now let's talk about the IELTS scoring system.
Ah, yes, the band scores.
They can seem a bit mysterious at first.
It's actually pretty straightforward once you understand it.
Okay, break it down for me.
So imagine a ladder with 9 rungs. Each rung represents a band score.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Band 9 is the highest.
The top of the ladder.
Exactly. That means you have expert level English proficiency.
Wow, impressive.
And each band score has specific descriptors that outline the skills and accuracy expected at that level.
So if a university requires a band 7,
You know you need to reach at least that 7th rung on the ladder.
it's like having a roadmap.
That shows you exactly where you need to go.
I like that.
And speaking of reaching your goals,
Let's talk about the importance of practice.
there's no substitute for
I
it.
know it's crucial for any exam.
But with the IELTS, it's especially important to practice under timed conditions
Why is that?
because it simulates the real test environment.
So you can get used to the pressure.
Exactly, and it helps you identify any areas where you might be struggling.
So what's the best way to practice?
Mock tests.
Full-length mock tests.
The whole shebang.
Like a dress rehearsal before opening night. So
Exactly.
you can iron out any kinks and feel more confident on test day.
And mock tests expose you to a wider range of question types and topics.
So you're not caught off guard by anything on the actual exam.
Precisely.
It's like training for a marathon by running on different terrains and in different weather conditions.
You're preparing yourself for any challenge that comes your way.
Okay, so mock tests are crucial.
And don't forget about managing test anxiety.
Oh yeah, those pre-test nerves can be brutal.
A little bit of nervousness is normal.
But too much can really affect your performance.
Sure. So, what can you do to stay calm and focused on test day?
Well, I've heard that visualization can be helpful.
It can. Picture yourself walking into that exam room with confidence, answering questions with ease, and achieving your desired score.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. Your mindset plays a huge role in how you perform.
So think positive thoughts, visualize success,
And don't underestimate the power of simple relaxation techniques.
like deep breathing.
Exactly. Or listening to calming music before the test.
Anything that helps you feel grounded and centered.
Now, before we move on to our final thoughts on the IELTS.
I wanted to touch on a resource you mentioned earlier, IELTS Shelf.
Yes, they have a ton of great stuff for test takers.
Like what?
Well, they have a YouTube channel with video guides and tips.
They even have book reviews. I love that idea. It's a fun way to expand your vocabulary and improve your reading comprehension.
They also have podcasts.
Perfect for our podcast-loving audience.
Exactly. There are so many resources out there to help you prepare for the IELTS.
And we encourage you to explore them all.
Find what works best for you.
Knowledge is power, after all.
Well said. Now, are you ready to wrap things up with some final thoughts and insights?
I'm all ears. All right, we're back.
Ready for the final stretch of our IELTS deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground.
From the ins and outs of each section.
To time management strategies and the importance of practice.
But before we wrap things up,
Let's leave you with a final thought to ponder.
as you continue your IELTS journey,
We've talked about the IELTS as a gateway to all sorts of opportunities.
education, career advancement, new life experiences.
It's like a passport to a world of possibilities.
But here's the thing.
The benefits of preparing for this exam.
They go way beyond just getting a certain score.
Absolutely, the skills you develop along the way.
They're valuable assets no matter what you do in life.
Think about it. The IELTS pushes you to think critically, to communicate clearly,
To manage your time effectively.
even to present yourself confidently in different situations.
Those are essential life skills.
That will serve you well in countless areas,
Whether you're writing a report at work
or giving a presentation.
or even just having a conversation with someone new.
So the IELTS journey,
It's not just about passing an exam,
it's about expanding your horizons.
both linguistically and personally,
It's about embracing the challenge of learning
and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
and discovering what you're truly capable of.
And remember,
If you ever feel overwhelmed,
or need some extra guidance,
there are resources out there to help you.
like IELTS Shelf.
They've got tons of tips, strategies, and support
It's like having a cheering section.
to help you every step of the way.
So go out there, embrace the challenge.
And remember, you have the power to achieve your IELTS goals.
The skills you gain on this journey,
They might even lead you to unexpected destinations.
places you never imagined before.
That's it for our IELTS deep dive.
We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
Until next time,
Keep learning, keep growing.
and keep unlocking the power of language.